Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is all of my 2025 purchases. There's a lot of palettes here, but I also have some foundation, some lip products, primer, powder, all of that good stuff. I am going to go over all the purchases that I made this past year and talk about my thoughts on them. So if that all sounds good to you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love it if you stuck around. But with all that, let's just get into it. All right, I had to really hype myself up for this video. If you saw my floor right now, it is just covered in product. Every year, I tell myself I'm going to do better next year, not purchase as much. I've really been trying to rein it in. And for the most part, I have. I actually have made improvements, even though today it's not going to seem like that. But then every year, at the end of the year, I'm like, how did this all add up to so much? I don't know how. I do know for January was like a special circumstance, and January is going to be like probably the bulk of this video. But past that, I just don't know how it got so out of control. Like one palette here, one palette there, and then all of a sudden we're at like a lot of palettes. So there's a lot to talk about. I dread to think about how long this video is, but we're just going to go month by month of what I purchased and then what I decluttered and then all of my numbers as far as what I bought. Now, I do have to preface this for January. I feel like I've been having to do this a lot. It is coming up on like the 1-year anniversary of my brother's passing. So in December, I did not do a purchases and empties because I very unexpectedly lost one of my siblings and I had to fly back to the States and take care of that. So December was very up in the air. And again, like emotions were high. I'm still having a very difficult time with that. So because I didn't do my purchases and empties video, I do that every single month, talk about what's coming in and out of my collection. I will link the playlist up above. I kind of in January ended up combining December and January's purchases. And that was like really heightened emotional times for me. So I know those 2 months was a little bit out of control. And unfortunately, I just don't remember what I purchased in December of 2024 versus January 2025. I can kind of remember some of it, but not enough to be like fully confident on which is which. So that's why remember with like a grain of salt that I'm going over January here, but it did kind of include December. It is what it is. That was my life at the time, and there's nothing I can do about it, unfortunately. So like I said, we're just going to dive in because there's so much, and I think I'm like, don't know where to start, and I think we just have to go. So I'm going to grab like a pile, and we're just going to go. The first thing, pretty sure I bought this in December. This is the Juvia's Gardens of Juvia's palette. I have luckily used this palette. We'll go over what I've used and what I haven't used. And this is probably my favorite pastel palette. So this was recommended to me from a YouTube friend, DW from Dub's Beauty Diary. I will have her channel linked down below. This was her favorite pastel palette. And then she said it was on sale. And I think that's why I bought it in December, because it was like $16 for holiday time. And that's why I purchased this. And it's a really nice pastel palette. I've actually decluttered other pastel palettes because of this one. So this was a nice purchase. I like this palette a lot. And then, make some room here. And then I purchased the Natasha Denona Roxa palette, the purple palette. Also pretty positive that I purchased this in December, but who knows. I'm very happy to have this palette. I like this. I know not everyone loved the Roxa palette, and it does lean kind of pink. I agree with the criticisms of this palette, but I still think it's really pretty. It's not my least hated Natasha Denona palette by any means. 2 palettes from Artitude Cosmetics. This was the year that I tried Artitude Cosmetics, and if I also have any videos on these palettes, I will have them listed down in the description box, because I did do a deep dive on this brand, and you'll see another palette from them later. But I did 3 looks with each palette and then kind of talked about my thoughts. So I purchased the Vintage Neutrals and the Urban Neutrals. Quite like both of these palettes. I think Artitude Cosmetics does a really great job with their formula. I had a little bit of like complaints. You can go watch that video if you want to see my thoughts more. I don't want to make this video 10,000 years long, but I do really like them. The only thing is I have to be careful with purchasing from them because not every palette is a color story that I would use. And that's what I have to be mindful of, is just because I like a brand doesn't mean I have to purchase every single palette from them. So that's something that is one of the things I still need to improve on in 2026, but I did purchase both of those. And then I made an order from Mika Beauty Shop. They are a French indie brand, and both of these palettes I have yet to use actually. I did do a video about a month and a half ago of all the palettes in my pile of shame, all the palettes that I haven't used or touched. So I will link that video up above if you want to hear more of my thoughts on why I haven't touched a palette. But this is the Forever Young palette. Looks like this. I want to reach for it. I just haven't yet. And more than this palette, I definitely want to reach for the Simplicity palette. This was the main reason I made a purchase from Mika Beauty Shop during, I'm pretty sure, like some kind of sale. So I think this one also came in December, but I'm not sure. This palette is so beautiful, and I really, really need to reach for it. This is a good seasonal palette right now. Even with that pop of green, I think I can make it work. So I should reach for this one soon. I've been really excited about this one. The Forever Young was kind of just a add-on. And that's also something I'm still learning, is not to just like add things on because they're on sale. But look, we can't improve overnight. I will take a little bit of improvement. The next palette that I purchased was from Simply Posh Cosmetics, and it was the Coastal palette. I haven't used this one yet either. That's why it still has the Shade Saver on it. Try not to make it reflective. It looks like this. I will probably pull this out in the summertime. Forgot about it this summer, or just didn't have time for it this summer, but I definitely am very excited for this palette. Just need to reach for it. Next, I have these two palettes from Adept, and I'm pretty sure this was also like a holiday sale order that came and I purchased in December. So I have the Heather Austin palette, and then I purchased the Flying Fiddles. The Flying Fiddles was the one that I mainly wanted, and then I added on that Heather Austin. But I haven't touched either of these palettes yet either, which is a shame. And when I talked about this in my pile of shame video, everyone said I really need to prioritize this one, that it's a really good one. I wanted to try some palettes from Titanium Foxes. They are another French indie brand. So I picked up the Poppy Quiet, which looks like this. Very pretty, very impactful. This was another brand like the Artitude Cosmetics that I did a deep dive on. And then I also have the Grackle Chat. So I did 3 looks with each of these palettes and then just talked about my thoughts on the formula. So here's Grackle Chat. This was like their newest palette at the time when I purchased from them. I think this I did purchase in January, if memory serves, because this released then, and then I added on the Poppy Quiet and intended on doing a video. So I did do a video on those. And then of course, I made a Unearthly order. So I picked up the Not Normal palette. This was not a palette that I really had like on the forefront of my mind, but when they did the extended revamped version of it, I liked it so much better than the original. So I did pick this one up. I've used this one. I do plan on ranking my Unearthly palette soon, so subscribe if you want to see that. I'm still just making my way through all the palettes that I have from them. I want to make sure that I use them all, no pan left behind, before I do that ranking. A ranking I do have up though is my Cosmic Beauty ranking. So this is the Neutrals palette, and it looks like this. Very happy that I purchased this palette. Like this palette a lot. Don't remember if I got it on sale or not, or what the story was with this, why I purchased it, or if I was just feeling sorry for myself and it was one of those purchases. But I did buy this one, and I'm very, very happy with this purchase. This palette I know I purchased in January because I bought it when I went to Sephora with my sister. My sister lives in Arizona, so I was there for, it was kind of, my brother passed on the 11th, so I was there like the last 2 weeks of December in Arizona, and then like the first 10 days of January or so. So I bought this one in Sephora. So happy I picked this up, even though it was kind of like an impulse purchase and it was very expensive. I made a Lethal Cosmetics order, and I'm pretty positive I purchased these in January as well, because I believe that they had their kind of like anniversary of the brand starting. So they did some kind of sale, and that's when I picked these two up. I've been wanting the Mellow Grove for a very long time. They had launched it in spring of 2024, but I never picked it up. And this one was on sale during that time, as well as the Spellcraft palette, which was kind of on my list to purchase. But I think that this wasn't on sale for Black Friday, so I ended up skipping. And then for January, it was on sale. And that's why I ended up deciding to pick both of these up. It's like a little book here, very pretty, but I have yet to use either of these yet. And I really need to get a move on, especially Spellcraft, because this is definitely more of like a winter palette. Mellow Grove, I can wait till spring a little bit more. I forgot to include this with my Mika Beauty Shop, but in that Mika Beauty Shop order, I did purchase 4 singles. This is my little Z palette of Mika Beauty Shop, and I purchased these 4 singles here because they were on some kind of promotion. I think they were like heavily discounted, and they were maybe like discontinuing shades or something like that. So I did purchase these 4, and I was happy with these. They're very pretty, like the green, maybe I really don't need, but Mika Beauty Shop has some excellent singles. A few more palettes to go over before we go into like the random bits and bobs, but this video is going to be palette heavy. It's clear what I was really focused and hyperfixated on in 2025. But I have the Gourmand Girls Peach Perfect palette. This was a palette that was on my wish list when it came out in summertime. And so I must have purchased this when they were doing some kind of holiday sale and got it at a little bit of a discount. I'll do that often. I didn't do that this year. So like I said, I'm improving. But in the past, that's what happens is all the palettes that I really kind of wanted over the years, I would get during Black Friday time when they were on a little bit of a discount. So that's kind of what was going on in 2024, like the tail end. But it's bleeding over into 2025, unfortunately. Icy Nude, love this palette so much. Happy that I picked it up, even though I got it at full price. Very pretty palette. I know not everyone loved this palette, but this is honestly one of my favorite Huda Beauty palettes. I don't know what it is about it. I think I just like that there's so many more lighter tones. I initially almost skipped on this palette because I really did not like all the promotional pictures that Huda Beauty did. They were so icy platinum that I didn't think this palette was for me, but I just don't do those kinds of looks. And with these other shades here, they turn out really pretty. She just was using like avalanche and platinum all over the lid, and I don't really like that really icy look. But when I use the rest of the shades, it turns out beautiful. And like I said, I think this might be my favorite Huda Beauty palette. The last of the palettes were my Nomad Cosmetics order. So this must have come in December as well, but I'm not going to repeat myself. It is what it is. I don't want to guess. I'd rather just include them all and be a little bit more accurate. So I picked up the Chicago Speakeasy, which I have ranked all of my Nomad palettes. I will link that video either up above or down in the description box. This is my favorite Nomad palette. Really like it. It is the most neutral of the Nomad palettes that I have, so it's no surprise that this one's my favorite, but I love the purples here. I love every single shade in this one. That's why it's my number one. Also purchased the Polar Express. This was like kind of their newest palette at the time when I made that order. And I like this one. Surprisingly, like I kind of went back and forth on if I wanted it because of the blues and how I'm not necessarily attracted to blues. But for having blues in this palette, I actually like it more than I thought that I would. And I'm happy to have this one, actually. These shades here like make up for it. They're yummy and delicious. I love them so much. Then the last Nomad palette that I purchased was the New Zealand Stargazing. This one I was so excited for, and I don't love it as much as I wanted to. It's just a little bit deep and dark for me. I wish that it had a few more lighter shades. I know it does have some light shades in here, but I don't know. I think it's the shimmers that are just a little too dark. It's just not my favorite, but I have it. This is kind of on the chopping block for me. I haven't really decided yet, but I am trying to lower the palettes in my collection. And this is one that I'm really wondering like if I need to keep it or not. Like I have a lot of Nomad palettes, so part of me wants to keep it for the aspect of having the collection and having them all. But another part of me is like, am I going to reach for it? So I'm still struggling with that. I've been able to do it with some other brands, but this brand in particular has been a little bit tough. And now we go into some of the random things. I'm actually pretty confident all of these I bought in January because I'm looking at the pile and I know I bought a lot of these when I was at the States. So my sister and I went to Sephora. I already talked about that. I bought that Makeup by Mario palette. I also, in that purchase, picked up this Valentino lipstick. I love this lipstick. It is the most luxurious lipstick that I own, quite honestly. It is in the shade Couture in the Streets, I want to say. And it is a matte formula. They've come out with like a shine version of this, and I kind of want it, but I don't need to be purchasing any more lipsticks. This is what it looks like. Mostly, honestly, bought it for the packaging. So there's that. Then I purchased this at Sephora. This is the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm in iced coffee. Been really wanting to try this. Everyone raves about it. At the time, Summer Fridays wasn't sold in France, but now it is. I have not used it yet because I try to only open one lip product at a time, but eventually I will get there. And then these things I bought when I went to Ulta with my sister. So I bought 3 foundations there. The first one being the Dior, this is the Forever Hydra Nude. Did a first impression on this, probably my favorite of the 3 I'm going to talk about today, which is surprising because I've been known to not be a fan of the Forever line. I always found it to be a little bit too full coverage and cakey for my personal preferences, but the Hydra Nude was really, really nice. Liked it a lot. Also really enjoyed the Maybelline Superstay Lumi Matte Foundation. Only problem with this, and I do think I'm going to declutter it, is I got the shade 115, and it's just like very, very peachy for me, but I love this foundation is the problem. It's just, do I want to keep it around and mix it? Like, look at that shade. I don't know if you can tell just like how peachy it is compared to my skin tone. I had a really hard time shade matching myself, so does it like sit in my drawer to remind myself that I like it and I need to get a different shade, or do I just get rid of it before it like expires and I never get around to doing that? I haven't decided. I probably just need to bite the bullet and find someone whose skin tone this would match, so that way I just have it out of my collection and doesn't expire, because it's not obviously that old. I don't know. I'm going to stick it actually to the side so I can decide later. The last foundation I picked up was the Milani Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Skin Tint Stick. I got the shade 7, and I really enjoy this foundation as well. This was a good foundation haul, quite frankly, because there'll be some other foundations we'll talk about that I didn't love as much. Really enjoyed this as a stick foundation. Would recommend if you're going out and looking for a stick foundation from the drugstore. And then I also purchased this Milani Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Smoothing Primer. I had been wanting this. I haven't used it too much, but when I have used it, I've liked it. It's a nice blurring, smoothing primer. Nothing bad to say from the drugstore. Like it much more than the Tarte Smoothing Primer. And I like that it has, like for drugstore, this little scoop here. That is not magnetic, like it actually has a home, so it doesn't get lost. So I got those. And then at Ulta, I also picked up this. This is the About Face Matte Fluid Eye Paint in, I always forget the name of this because I want to say Smell Before Rain, but I think it Smell After Rain or something like that. Something with rain, and I can't see it right now to tell you, but this was kind of just an impulse. Saw it, looked cute, bought it. There was no budget in December and January, I'll be honest. There just was none. It was like, oh, will this give you 10 seconds of happiness? Get it. So here's what this looks like. It's nice. Do I use it often? No. Should I have bought it? Probably not, but it's fine. I like it enough. It just, I don't think was like a necessary item I needed to have in my collection. And then I bought a little trio of these, which is why I haven't used the Summer Friday. This was like a mini set of the Lano lips. And like I said, there's 3 of them in there. They're each some kind of weight. I should really look up before I like say words. It's 0.1 ounce. That's all I can read. It's too small. But I used up 2 of them. I have 1 left. Right now I'm trying to finish my Laneige sleeping mask, and then I will try to finish this, and then the Summer Fridays, or I haven't decided yet. I'm about halfway through the Laneige sleeping mask because this is tinted. So do I really need to wait for a lip treatment when this is clear? I don't know. I do very much like the Lano lips, and I would repurchase this actually. Like it a lot. I find it to be the most hydrating and like long-term hydrating lip product. The Laneige is nice, but I just wouldn't ever repurchase it. I feel like I always have to reapply that, and I just don't think it's worth it for the hype that it has. I think this is so much better. The last purchase for January/December, we've almost made it, was I made a Lisa Eldridge order. So I originally made the order to pick up the little pinpoint concealer. I have a dedicated video on this. It was Lisa Eldridge's take on like her signature method of doing pinpoint concealing. And it's nothing special, just a concealer in like an eyeliner form. And in that order, I purchased a lipstick. This is the Balm Embrace in Sweet Fig. I actually have used quite a bit of this, like naturally. I have to tell myself not to use this. I used to keep this on my desk, and then I put it back in my lipstick drawer to try and get some use out of some older ones. I mean, I still have a lot of product, but this is my favorite just everyday lipstick from Lisa Eldridge. I also like their Velveteens, but I would much rather purchase more shades of this before purchasing any of the Velveteens. Really, really nice. Liked this a lot. Did not like this concealer at all. I keep it because it was very expensive, but definitely do not recommend buying this. I'll kind of use it sometimes to actually like clean up my lip line, but the pinpointing concealing method is just not for me. It's just not. So this was kind of a waste of money, but oh well. I made a video on it. It was fine. Now, out of all of these purchases, I know I said that was the last one, but I do have one that I can't show you today because I did already declutter it. So it's going to be my first declutter of today's video, but I did purchase the Ensley Rain Flutter palette. Pretty sure that again was in December, but who knows, because I know I purchased it only because it was on sale. However, I don't have that palette anymore. I did declutter it. So there was that, but that is gone. So I think that tells you my thoughts on that palette. I actually ultimately decided to declutter all of my Ensley Rain palettes, and I just gave them to someone who would maybe use them. They were just sitting on my shelf unused, and I felt like they were too pretty to do that. So I gave them to someone who would appreciate them a little bit more, but I do not have that palette anymore. But that wraps up January, and that was the most of it. So let me clear off my desk and we'll get into February. Now, in February, it was a little bit lighter. Clearly, I felt like I had enough to get through in those past 2 months. So February, I slowed my roll a little bit, but I did purchase some things still. So one of the first palettes that I remember purchasing was the Beauty Bay Daydreamer palette. I absolutely love this palette a lot, actually. I think it's really beautiful. It is a little bit more on the lighter tones, so you have to be into these more soft tones, but I thought it was very nice. There was some criticism on this palette, but personally, for me, I very much enjoyed it. One of my favorite Beauty Bay palettes. Then I picked up the Nomad Cheminée Après Ski palette. This came out, I think, end of January. I picked it up pretty much right when it launched because I just made that order, so I thought I could do a video including this. This is a nice one. It's okay. Not my favorite. I just don't love these bigger palettes from Nomad, I think. I like the smaller ones. I like the color stories. It's like a muddy pastel almost, like a wintry, muddy pastel color story. I do like it. I felt like some of these shimmers were a little repetitive. Like this iridescent green, even though it's baseless, it flips very strong green. So it ends up kind of looking like this green-based shimmer. that's just my thoughts. You know, I think it fell like mid-tier in my ranking if memory serves, but not my favorite. And I think actually I was just a little bit disappointed on the speed of when this came to me because I was hoping to get a video up pretty quickly. And this is just first world problems. But they didn't say that the Europe website for Nomad was delayed or something like that and it was going to take longer. So I ended up emailing them saying like, hey, it's been like a couple weeks now. My pallet hasn't shipped. And they were like, oh, sorry, like our warehouse is behind or something like that. I remember just kind of being disappointed. And I think this was actually my last Nomad purchase. I do have a few that I want from them, but they pump out their pallets way too fast for me to keep up, especially since I'm trying to like slow down. The last palette that I have to talk about is the Dexter palette. I haven't used this yet, but I'm a huge Dexter fan. I got this mainly for the IP, and I'm okay with that. It's fine. There's not very many IPs where I would purchase just for the IP, and even though this isn't my color story, I'm happy to have this. Eventually, I will crack into it and use it, and not just have it sit there, but that day is not today. And for now, it continues to sit there. I couldn't believe that I purchased this in February. It seems like it was just yesterday that I got this palette. Like, I don't know where this year has gone, truly. Then a few random bits before we talk about the declutters for that month. I purchased a powder. This is the Laneige Neo Essential Blurring Powder. I thought this looked like so interesting and cool. I will say that I thought this powder was a pressed powder, but this is actually a mesh screen and there's loose powder underneath it. So when I got it, I was a little confused, but it's a cool powder. It's actually a really nice powder. I don't think it's very practical. Powder kind of flies everywhere when you use it. And I feel like they tried to advertise this as a loose powder for travel, but I would not use that. Very oil controlling though, very blurring, like it a lot. And then I have a single from Urban Decay. This is the shade Diamond Dog. I wanted this shade the second that they released it. And then I believe that they finally released it on Ulta or something like that. So I ended up picking it up. It's a little bit darker in person maybe than I love, but still very pretty. And I'm happy to have it because anything that has the word dog in it is something that I'm going to buy. So there's that one. And then for my declutters, there were two things from that month that I purchased that I don't have in my collection anymore. So one of them is a palette. It is the Flower Beauty Garden Light palette. So it's a little 6-pan of all shimmers. In my most recent declutter of my single shadows, I will link that video up above. I ended up decluttering that palette. Those shades, like while I want to love them, I prefer more of a sparkly, twinkly, toppery kind of shade rather than like a full-on metallic kind of shimmer. This like has a base with sparkle, so I'm fine with that, but that didn't have sparkle. It just is mostly shine and that metallic look, so I didn't feel like I was going to use it, and I have way too many singles, so I did end up decluttering that. And then I also got a foundation that I did a first impression on, which was the L'Oreal Lumi Le Glow foundation. I should have known that foundation wasn't for me. I don't love glowy foundations, but I fell into the hype of wanting to try something new. So I purchased it, did a first impression review on it, hated it, and decluttered it. So that is out of my life. Now for March, let me just move my piles over. March we picked back up. I think March was another one of my bigger months. I'm not sure why that is, what was going on through my head, but I did purchase quite a few things in March. I made a Bella Beauté bar order, so I ordered the Morally Grey palette. I thought this was the cutest Valentine's release. Just love this. I still love it. I'm very happy to have it. I think that was the only thing I ordered from Bella Beauté bar that month. Yes. I did make an order from Glamlight, and they must have been doing some kind of sale. And I am going off of my notes, by the way, from my purchases and empties because I list everything in the description box. So I'm actually, it's like the dots are connecting in my head that maybe I ordered this during Black Friday, this Glam Light order, and I didn't get it until March. And that's why this order is a little bit bigger, because my mom did go to the States in March, and maybe she brought some of these things back to me. That's hitting me now, but oh well, this is what my notes say, so this is where we're going with. I made an order from Glam Light, the first one being the Ghost Face Highlighter Duo. I do quite like the Scream franchise, and I didn't like the palette, but I thought the highlighter was cute, and I remember I paid like $8 for this, so I'm happy to have this. It's fine. And then I also picked up the Betty Boop palette, which I have yet to use. I actually had this in my like declutter pile, so I think I'm going to declutter it. I know that a lot of people really liked this palette, but for me, I think it's just not a palette I'm going to get a lot of use out of. And while it's unused, I think I'd rather just like pass it off or sell it or something like that to someone who might actually use it. And I also ordered the Plastics palette from Blend Bunny. Let's talk about that. And it's very similar color story, half neutral, half pink. And I would rather have this palette. So I do think that this Betty Boop palette I'm going to declutter, but I just wanted to talk about it today and let you know. So let me also set that aside so I don't forget. I made another order from Titanium Foxes. So they released the Jay's Joy palette. So my video with the 3 palettes, 3 looks deep dive included this palette. Now, since this palette, which was, in March, they have released 2 or 3 more palettes. Again, like just another brand that I can't keep up with. Lovely, lovely formula. If there's a color story from them, highly, highly recommend. Just know, like, be forewarned, the 3 palettes that I tried, I can't speak on any of the new ones. The mattes are very, very saturated and very pigmented. So just be very careful if you don't love to blend that much. Like, those mattes just take a lot of work, but I do recommend them. I think that they come out with really unique color stories. And I love that the owner of this brand, if you go on her Instagram, she does like every single color combination you could ever imagine with like 2 or 3 shades. She creates this like most beautiful looks with just 2 or 3 shades from the palettes. So I do love that aspect. I just can't like be dropping $75 on a palette all the time when I have more than enough eyeshadow to like last me 10 years, 10 lifetimes, not even 10 years, 10 lifetimes. The other palette that I purchased from Artitude Cosmetics is the Ink and Roses. This is probably my favorite from them. Again, this was the other palette in my deep dive for Artitude Cosmetics and love them. I would say that Artitude Cosmetics is a little bit more beginner friendly. If you don't want that pigmented saturation with your mattes, go with this brand instead if you're looking at indie. But very nice one. Just also a really nice brand in general. Love to support them. Wish I could have every single one of their palettes, but they do tend to come out with a lot more colorful things. I think I already mentioned that with the vintage and urban neutrals, so I have to be careful on which palettes I'm purchasing from. Cosmic Beauty, that was my only Cosmic Beauty. I purchased the Lovers palette, one of my favorites. Love this palette so much. It didn't make the top palette in my Cosmic Beauty ranking that I recently did, but it was close. It was close. I like this one a lot. I would love to pick up the Def palette, but it's just not right now something like I'm trying to withstand purchasing things for as long as possible. So I'm not purchasing it right now, but I would really like to have it. Both the Starlight palette and the Def palette are on my list, just not immediately. I made an order from ColourPop. So I purchased a few things from ColourPop. The ColourPop New Moon, the Twilight New Moon palette. And I like this one actually quite a bit for not being a warm tone lover. Like, this is a really nice palette. Loved all the looks that I've done with it. I end up decluttering like 75% of my ColourPop palettes. So I'm also trying to resist purchasing from them because the way that my soul yearns for that Shrek palette and the Grinch palette, I mean, like, my soul yearns for them, but I'm going to resist because I always purchase their palettes and always end up being disappointed. Sometimes I'm surprised, like this one, but it's just not worth the risk anymore. But I did purchase this palette, and then in that order, I also purchased the Pretty Fresh Tinted Foundation Balm. This is very nice, very similar to the Milani. I just would recommend the Milani over this because it's easier to get. If your Ulta has ColourPop and has this foundation stick in store, swatch it, make sure you can find your correct shade match. And if they do, then I recommend this foundation instead of the Milani. I think it just wears a little bit better. It doesn't break down as quickly, and it's more geared towards, I would say, all skin types, whereas the Milani, I think, is geared a little bit more towards oily skin types, in my opinion. But for like reasons of just accessibility, I don't think the differences are enough where I would recommend this over the Milani if the Milani is easier to get. Is that making sense? Then I also, in that same order, picked up 2 lip liners. These are the So Juicy ColourPop liners in Tease in Group Chat. These are supposed to be the plumping lip liners, and I think there was a sale. They were like $5 each or something like that. I've used them once or twice, like you can tell, but I don't really find a plumping effect on them, and really I have no business buying any more lip liners because I'm trying to get through my lip liner collection, and I have a lip liner in my project pan that I pretty much exclusively use day to day. I'm wearing that lip liner today, so had no business purchasing these, but you know, I'm gonna put them back now, and they will sit there until they go into a different project pan. A few more purchases in March. So the Tarte Aspen Ovard palette, I wanted this so bad when it first released. I could not believe my luck when they re-released this palette. I immediately purchased it, and I'm very happy to have it. Used it, loved it, everything that I wanted it to be. Is it a neutral palette? Yes, but I'm very happy to have this. It like cured a small little part of me from 2018 or whenever this palette released. It's cured a little part of that the person who couldn't get this palette back then, and I'm happy to have it. I treasure it a lot. The Simply Posh Cosmetics Snow Angel palette. So by March, I just was not feeling snow looks, and so I have not used this palette yet, but this winter time, I definitely plan on using this, and I'm excited to. Love Simply Posh's formula. Again, like they have some palettes now that I would love to purchase, like the Black Cherry. I don't like their new holiday one, the one that's like half neutrals, half pastels, the gingerbread, whatever it's called. I don't love pastels, so I'm not going to have like a plethora of pastel palettes in my collection. But I love the brand enough where I want them. So it's one of those things that just like pull at me a little bit, where I need to like remind myself I don't have to have every palette from every brand that I love. Few more purchases to talk about. I made a purchase from Natasha Denona. They must have been doing some kind of spring sale for me to purchase them, because I would not have purchased these older palettes at full price, but I kind of had the Yucca on my wish list because I hadn't purchased it yet. So I ended up picking this one up. Really like this palette. Did a comparison of this palette to the Cosmic Beauty Undergrowth palette. It'll be linked in the description box, and I have some thoughts on that if you want to see my thoughts. And then I also purchased the Natasha Denona My Dream palette, which I haven't used yet. Shame on me, but I was also very excited for this one. It was kind of one that I just never gotten around to picking up, and I would like to use it. It's actually, to me, I know not everyone loves this palette, but I quite like that they're like desaturated warm tones a little bit, because I'm dipping my toes back into warm tones, and this I feel like is an approachable method to warm tones. That was all of the palettes in March. Then we just have the foundation purchases. Foundation is my favorite category, so it is a tough category for me not to purchase from, especially because I love coming here on YouTube and doing first impression wear tests for you all. So I did pick up 2 foundations that month. The first one being the Ordinary Serum Foundation. Not my favorite, actually. I had high hopes for this because they had discontinued this, brought it back, and a lot of people were very excited. It didn't live up to the hype for me. It's like $7, so yes, it's inexpensive. If you're looking for an inexpensive option, I think this is great. It's not terrible, but I've definitely tried better foundations. Even this ColourPop one I think is better. And then the last foundation that I purchased, or the last one that I have, is the Givenchy Glow Serum Foundation in the shade 2N. This is a beautiful foundation. Actually, really, really nice. I don't love a glowy foundation. I've already said that, but this is like a healthy glow. It's not a dewy glow, like a sweaty glow. Just makes your skin look really nice. Very reminiscent, like whatever magic they have in the Givenchy concealer, because that also just makes your under eyes look healthy and like plump and supple. Like that's what this foundation has. And I wish I knew like exactly what that was, because that's the kind of glow that I prefer in my products. But that's everything that I have for March. As far as my declutters, there's one thing that I bought in March that I don't have anymore, which is the ABH foundation, the Blur foundation. I got the shade 2N. I did do a review on it. First of all, it was way too dark, which is interesting because that's usually around what I stick to. Like this is 2N, the Dior was 2N. I'm usually in that range, but it was way too dark and it was way too full coverage, way too thick for me, like not even just a vent foundation. So that on top of the shade match, I ended up decluttering it, finding someone else who would really enjoy that foundation. So that is no longer in my collection. But now my desk is dirty again. So let me clear it off and we'll go into April. Okay. So when I look at April, I think this was about the time where I had a come to Jesus with myself. And I just asked myself, like, what are you doing in 2024? You told yourself you're going to be so much better in 2025. Like, what's going on here? Because we're not making any improvements. So April's when I finally started to see vast improvement on what I was actually purchasing. And I feel like since then, I've been able to do a little bit better. We've had like some hits and misses, but this is where it gets a little bit shorter. For April, I actually only have 2 products and one was decluttered to me. So we'll go over that first. It is the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. I tried my first Too Faced tin palette in 2024, the Apple in Love, and I really enjoyed that palette a lot actually. So a friend gave me this Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. I like this palette too. I'm very surprised. I don't know why. I just never got on the Too Faced tin train. I think because they leaned really warm tone. And so I didn't like love them as much. And that's why I didn't purchase them. Like the gingerbread spice, like all of those are very warm tone. So I just never ended up picking them up. So yeah, I got this in April, very happy, but I didn't purchase it. It was decluttered to me. The only thing that I did end up purchasing was the Givenchy bronzer. And let me tell you, this is probably one of my favorite purchases of 2025. I love this bronzer. I think it's finally available in the US. Like it just started being available in the US a couple months ago, but it was available pretty early here in Europe. I have the shade 001, so the lightest bronzer. I did a video on this bronzer. I think I did a few shorts. I can't remember if I actually put them up, but I at least made them. They just might be in my drafts. The amount of drafts that I have for my short form content is unbelievable. I really need to like do that. I don't know why. I'll like actually film them, edit them, everything, do the whole thing, and then I just don't post them. But I really like this. I like that it's this 4 quadrant. So I could do an eye look with this if I wanted to. I can swirl it all together, use it as bronzer. Givenchy just comes out with really good products. I was very happy with this purchase. That was it for April. We're going to go into May. Try to speed this along because I think I've been filming for almost an hour now. For May, I also had a lot of declutters to me. All 3, April, May, and June, I think I had like a few things decluttered to me. So let's go over the declutters first. Yes, there was a lot. I got 2 ISL quads decluttered to me, and I'm very grateful for my friends who've like decluttered these products to me. I'm very generous and kind. Just it kind of adds to my numbers. So I love the YSL quads. I had the shade 100. So someone gave me the colorway 200, which is like this pinky tone one. And then 300, which is kind of like this warm tone brown one. Very pretty, stunning. Used both of them. Love them a lot. They also gave me the Huda Beauty Nude Light. I never got any of these Huda palettes. And this is also pretty. I think I'm going to declutter this though. Oh, I really like this pink shade. I'm going to keep it for now. It's like a small palette. Yeah, I'm going to hang on to it for now. But I did get this decluttered to me, as well as the MAC. This is the connecting color embedded in burgundy. This is a really, really nice palette, actually. Was surprised. You kind of just forget how good and solid MAC shadows are, but they're really good. Only thing is I have like 2 of these shades. No, I only have 1. I only have Naked. No, I don't have any of these anymore. I don't know what I was thinking. I can't remember if I have some of these as singles or not. I think I do, but now see, like I have so much in my collection, I can't even remember. This is a really pretty palette though. I wonder if it's magnetic and I could like pop shades out, because that would be really cool for like my different MAC singles that I have. But I got this decluttered to me. And then I got this lip gloss decluttered to me. This might be my favorite lip product that I got in 2025. I say that about the Valentino, but realistically, like I use this all the time and I couldn't believe it. It's this Rimmel Thrill Seeker Glassy Gloss. It is just perfect. First of all, I love how giant the doe foot is. Mine's dirty because I don't really care about that. I know some people do. So this giant doe foot, smells like candy. It's clear. It makes your lips look so plush. I'm gonna add it on top. I just love this. Like I have used quite a bit of this. You can see like how much it's settling down. Even when I put this back in, like it is down to here. I really use this. Like I keep this on my desk. I'm going to put it back so I don't forget. And I use it all the time. Really great. Like when I'm out of that, I'm going to rebuy it. Then let's talk about the things that were decluttered to me that I don't have anymore. Because I passed on some of the things that were decluttered to me because I just knew I wasn't going to purchase them. The first one was a Sephora palette. It was the Color Shifter Strange Botanical palette. I just didn't really love that at all. It wasn't really for me, so I just like passed it along. And then I also got a Sephora brand blush, and I just had enough blushes. I passed that one along as well. I just didn't need it. And then while we're at it, the last thing that I don't have anymore that I purchased in May, but this was an actual purchase for me, was the Artitude Cosmetics Metamorph palette. So I did purchase another Artitude Cosmetics palette because I loved those 3 so much, the vintage and urban neutrals, as well as the ink and roses. But that palette, while I love the packaging and I love the formula, again, color story, just not for me. So I need to not make that mistake because I really like the Arcana palette from Artitude. Looks beautiful. Then the, I think Submerged, something like their deep ocean themed palette also looks beautiful, but they're just not color stories I'm going to use. So I need to like be realistic with myself, not my fantasy self. But those are the items that were decluttered. And then we have the things that I actually purchased in May, and it wasn't that much. 4 things. Not that bad, huh? Like I said, I think I finally like had to come to Jesus with myself. The first one was this little Natasha Denona mini rose palette. I didn't need this because a lot of these are repeat shades, and I try not to buy the minis when they are repeat shades, but this one just looked so cute, and it came with a really pretty eye look. I really liked it when I used this palette, so I am happy to have this actually. I do wish the minis were removable pans though. I purchased another foundation, the Maybelline Fit Me BB Nude Foundation. This is okay. I have the shade 30. Not my favorite. Definitely not my favorite Maybelline foundation. That's the thing, is I do love Maybelline foundations. I've done a lot of Maybelline foundation reviews on my channel over the years. And I even did a video talking about like 28 different Maybelline foundations. Like I got my hands on as many Maybelline foundations as I could and talked about the pros and cons of each of them. So I will link that video up above and down below in the description box. But out of those, like this one's just not like my favorite. It's just too light skin, like of a skin tint for me. Personally, I like a little bit more coverage. Like I want a true light coverage foundation, and this was, you know, a BB cream. That's on me. So can't be upset at it. Not the worst foundation I've tried though. Like it's okay. Then I purchased this little Dior bronzer. This was a limited edition for spring, I think, in the shade Coral Bronze. I have mentioned this a few times, but one of my credit cards, I get a $50 Saks Fifth Avenue credit, and I usually purchase something beauty related, luxury that I wouldn't get normally. Like I wouldn't actually spend the $60 on this bronzer, but because I got a $50 gift card for it, I did. Unfortunately, Saks Fifth Avenue, like I'm sometimes limited on my choices there because they don't have, like it's not a Sephora selection. You know, they don't have that many beauty items or like new items to pick from. So that's why like sometimes I'm like, well, what do I actually want? And I decided to get this because the compact was pretty, but so I did purchase this, although I did have like a $50 credit. And then the last item in May that I bought was the Odin's Eye Love Language palette, which I have yet to use, unfortunately. This came out for like Valentine's Day-ish, but I held off. I didn't purchase it right away. And then at the very end, like when this palette was getting low stock, I don't even know if this palette's still on the Odin's Eye website anymore. I kind of got that really quick, oh no, I'm going to miss out on this palette. I'm going to regret it. And I better pick it up before it's discontinued forever. And so I ended up picking it up. But I haven't used it yet. It's very pretty. I would like to. I think in springtime I will pick it up. That's everything for May though. And then June was also a very short month. I got this palette, another Odin's Eye palette, but this is the Hella palette. And this was decluttered to me, brand new, never been used. So very thankful for that. I have used this palette, No Pan Left Behind, and I loved it. I'm actually really surprised at how much I loved the color story on this, because I remember when it was released and I was like, oh, this is not a color story for me. But I got some really pretty unique looks out of this palette. And I'm happy that I have it, actually. I'm happy that it was decluttered to me. No complaints about this one. This was back when like Odin's Eye's formula, I think, was a little bit more predictable. So yeah, I'm happy to have it. The only thing I actually purchased in June was another foundation, because I love foundations. The L'Oreal Skin Ink. I have the shade 20. This is okay. L'Oreal did a ton of marketing for this foundation. I think they wanted it to be bigger than it actually is. I don't think it's the greatest. I think that this is a little bit too matte for me and most people. This is the shade 20. It's supposed to be like a concealer foundation in one. I don't like the fact that you're paying foundation price for 15 milliliters of product. That's about half of a standard foundation. I know it's supposed to be concealer in one, but it just, I don't know. I think they missed the mark on this. I think they put their budgeting, their marketing budgeting to something that wasn't the best product. And yeah, I keep it around, but it's not really my favorite at all. I did purchase that in June though. Let's go into July. We are now halfway through the year, but again, like not that many. We can kind of like roll through these months. So let me clear off the desk again and we'll go into July. Let's get into July. I had to take a short break because I was out of breath. Now, I know I said for starting in April that I kind of got a little bit better. July was a rough month for me. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember making some purchases and knowing as I was making them, like, this isn't the best choice. Like, you're making an emotional purchase right now to try and make yourself feel better. But I did it anyways. So let's go over July. Luckily, it's not as big, but there was quite a bit. The first and major one was my Glaminatrix purchase. So I purchased the Nearly Natural palette, the revamped one. Like this a lot, very happy, like the original more, like most people, but I am happy to have the revamped version. And then in that order, I purchased a bunch of their singles, and that's where I knew I didn't need them. I'm not going to show you every single one because there's 24 of them, but yeah, there's like 24 of these singles, and you would have seen them in my single declutter. If you watched that video, it's already been linked in the description box or up above. After that, I made an order with Unearthly because they were doing some kind of 40% off sale. That's typically when I order from them. They do that pretty often, so I just wait for a sale to pick up the palettes that I want. And I picked up the Devour palette, which looks like this. Not a me color story fully, but I did actually enjoy playing with this palette. I picked up the Don't Be Jelly palette. And I was surprised at how much I actually really enjoyed this palette. I remember being on the fence about it when it first came out, finally bit the bullet and purchased it, and liked it much more than I was anticipating. And then the Gargoyle palette, which I also very much enjoy. You wouldn't think so because it is very blue heavy, but I think that the background kind of shifts it to be more blue than it is. You can go pretty neutral or even green or burgundy with this palette. Solid one. Happy to have this one a lot, actually. I made a Bella Beauté bar purchase. So I purchased the Green Goddess palette. And it looks like this. Haven't used this one yet, but my gosh. This is the Bella Beauté Bar palette that I'm most excited to reach for. I am just so drawn to this packaging, this color story, everything. And then, of course, I really wanted the Smoky Glam palette, the revamped one. I had never purchased the original because it was so big, and I knew that the big packaging wouldn't be for me. So when they made the smaller version and listened to everyone, I immediately got it. I'm so excited to use this one as well. I just haven't yet. I think I need to like really dedicate some time or like a full month to Bella Beauté Bar. I just haven't yet. Then I made another Adept order, this time for the Unity palette. And this was just a like, it was on sale, so I bought it because normally these palettes are very expensive. I think this was like half off and then another 20% off. It was like $16 or $17. So I ended up buying this one. Not upset about it. Like, it's very pretty, but I need to like not just buy things because it's good value for the money. Like, I still spent $17 on this, and I could have purchased a palette that maybe I wanted more that wasn't on sale that I would have used more, you know? Like, that's also something I'm trying to get better at. Last thing I purchased in July was the Fantasy Cosmetica Cradled in Ice palette. And you can tell that like this is where a lot of my palettes are unused because I haven't used this palette either because I just was so far behind in 2025 from previous palettes. So it just got worse and worse, and I was trying to prioritize older palettes versus new palettes. I haven't tried this brand yet. Talked about this in my palette of shame video, but I am very excited to. Fantasy Cosmetica is just a brand that I'm like worried to go down the rabbit hole with, and like worried I'm just going to like them so much and want all of their palettes. And clearly, like, I have enough. I don't need to do that. So I'm trying to resist, but I did want to get the Cradle in Ice because I heard they were discontinuing this palette, and it was one that I kind of had on my wish list for a while. Now in July, I didn't declutter anything, which is good. So we're going to jump right into August purchases, and it's not bad, but it's not great. I have the Nomad Berlin Underground palette. I purchased this during their 10th anniversary. I didn't buy it right away because I think their 10th anniversary sale was a couple months before that. But I did eventually get this. It was a palette that kind of got away from me. But to be honest, I don't love this palette like I thought that I would. It's just it's too shimmer heavy for me. And I don't find like enough variety in the mattes. So didn't like this one as much as I thought that I would, but I don't know, we'll see. This one and the New Zealand Stargazing are one I could see myself decluttering, but I'm going to wait for now. I've tried them all, no pan left behind, so when I kind of revisit that brand again, I might declutter those two. Haven't fully decided. I made a Cosmic Beauty order, so I ordered the Undergrowth palette. Kind of talked about this when I talked about the Natasha Denona Yucca because I did a comparison video. Such a beautiful palette, so very excited to have this one. And then in that same order, I purchased the Smolder palette. I don't want to ruin my ranking, but I cannot tell you how much I adore this palette. It is very special to me. I had such a fun time trying and using and loving on this palette. Very happy to have it. I did end up purchasing the Glaminatrix Tones of Turd palette. I have yet to use this one, but I'm very, very excited to. I think I purchased this during like their second pre-order or something like that. So it took a minute to get to me, but when I actually use this, like, I'm going to have some fun with it. I think I have a lot of Glaminatrix palettes that I need to crack into as well. So I think maybe 1 month I'll dedicate myself to Bella Beauté Bar, and then 1 month to Glaminatrix. So maybe that'll be like February, March, because I want to cross off Unearthly first, and then I'll maybe focus on those two brands. But this one I'm also very excited about. And then my last purchase in August was this face palette from YSL. This is the Golden Oasis face palette. It's very heavy, very luxe. It came with 3 blushes, 3 highlights. Sorry, 3 blushes, these three highlights. Now these are all existing shades or 90% existing shades that YSL sells in singles. I do not have any of those from YSL. So for me, I think this was a really smart purchase because I've heard great things about their blushes specifically, and I've been wanting their blushes. And this was like the price of 1.5 blush. So for that price, I got 6 different colors that I can try and use. The highlighters are pretty. The blushes are pretty. Really like this palette a lot, actually. I like the layout of this. I like everything you can do with this palette. To me, like, I think this was a very smart purchase, if I do say so myself. But, you know, of course, it wasn't like a necessary purchase, but I do actually think that I was thoughtful and mindful with this purchase. I do have a review of this on my channel if you want to see it, and I'm happy to have it because now I don't need to have like 6 different compacts of blushes and highlighters in my collection from YSL. I can just have this palette and it costs me like a fraction of the price. So I'm happy with that. Now, September was, I guess, my best month other than December that we'll get to. But September, I only made 1 order and I purchased 2 items. So I purchased the Natasha Denona High Glam Foundation. Great foundation, top 3 in foundations that I tried this year. I would actually say a lot of the foundations I tried this year were good ones. There weren't that many that I didn't love, other than that ABH one that I decluttered, the the L'Oreal Lumi Le Glow Tint that I decluttered. Like, a lot of them were solid foundations. This is getting a lot of hype on the internet, and I have to agree with the hype. I think it's a very, very nice foundation. I did in that purchase also buy the Mini Gloom palette, but I tried that palette. I used it, no pan left behind, and I just didn't like it. So I decided to declutter it. It was one where at first I said I was going to keep it because it was newer in my collection, and I was reflecting on it, and I was just like, why? Why am I going to do that? So I actually decluttered it, and it's gone. So I'm very happy and content with that decision. I haven't thought about it once since before this video. But that was September. So September was good. Now we're going to go into October. The palette piles continue. I am not excited to put all these away. I don't know if you can see like my bookshelf where I had to take all these palettes down, but I'm not looking forward to putting them back. Another face palette that I purchased, this is the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look in a Palette, her holiday launch, and I'm very happy to have this. As the time that I'm filming this, it is currently in my Shop My Stash, so I have been able to use it. I love it. I think it was a really great idea. I'm glad that Charlotte Tilbury brought these palettes back because they used to be a staple in her lineup for quite some time, and then she stopped making them. I love that this is very much an all-in-one palette. You have eye shades, you have a powder, a bronzer, a highlight, and a blush. So you can just take this palette and foundation and be good to go. Happy with this. Love the shades, love everything about it. Then I made a huge monolith purchase. These were all from Monolith, actually. So I only made 2 purchases that month. Just my Monolith purchase was very hefty. So I bought some Bella Beauté bar palettes, the Unoriginal Nudes, which I love. I'm loving this palette so far. I'm trying to finish it, no pan left behind. I maybe have like 1 or 2 looks left to do with that, but very much enjoying my time with this palette. It's one of my favorite ones. Then I bought the Coalescence, the collaboration with Nupur. And this is very pretty. Like I said, I just need to have a month with Bella Beauté bar, I think, and dedicate some time to trying their palettes. I do have an affiliate code with Bella Beauté bar. It's just Melissa if you want to save some money off. There's lots of affiliate codes floating around though. Very excited to use this one. Definitely like a spicy neutral in my opinion, with some pops of color. Like, it's not too colorful. To me, this is a spicy neutral palette, I would say. I think we use spicy neutral a little too loosely sometimes. And then the last palette that I purchased from Bella Beauté bar in that order was the Ultraviolet. Talked about this. For whatever reason, I am missing a shade here. I emailed Monolith, never got a response from them. Like, it's been months, 2 months since October, right? Haven't gotten a response from them about this. Emailed Bella Beauté bar directly. They said they would ship this shade out to me very kindly, but I haven't gotten it yet. So I need to reach back out with them and find out what's going on with this shade because I would like to have the complete palette. That'd be nice. Then the other palettes I purchased in that order, the Gourmand Girls Mocha Moment. Oh, love this palette so much. Probably one of my favorite palettes that I purchased this year. I loved every single look that I did with this palette. Stunning, beautiful, all the good words that I have to say. Definitely my favorite Gourmand Girls palettes, and I have really not liked some in the past. I've decluttered them because I haven't liked the formula, and I like this one. Like the color story, like the formula, like everything. The two that I haven't tried yet, well, I haven't tried the Bella Beauté Bar ones, but you know what I'm trying to say. The Glaminatrix Crown Legacy palette, very excited for this. I'm not going to purchase the Mary Chrissy palette from Glaminatrix, so I don't know when I'll purchase from them next, but this one came out and I was like, I need this one immediately. Just muted, desaturated tones. That's what I love. That's what I have. So I am very excited to use that one. And then another new to me brand, Diveroon Cosmetics, the Magnetic Mineralia palette in collaboration with Andromeda, I think is how you say that handle. And this is what this one looks like. Again, muted desaturation. Love it. A little bit cool tone, gray tone, but you have some greens in here. Excited to play around with this one and excited to finally try Diveroon. I've heard very good things about this brand and I've yet to have a color story that really spoke out to me. So once I saw this one, I immediately knew this would be the palette for me and I could finally try the brand. But that was everything in October. I did not declutter anything after September, after that mini gloom palette. I didn't declutter anything from October. And then November, which let me move my piles so we can go over really quickly. You should have seen these not too long ago in my purchases and empties, obviously. That video went up on, what, the 4th of December or something like that. It'll be linked down below. But let me go over them again very quickly. We'll quickly go over the one declutter that I got, which is the Sigma Cool Neutrals. A friend had this. She didn't want it anymore. This was kind of like the only Sigma palette still on my wish list. I have the New Mod and the Ambiance palette, and this was kind of the only one that I wanted, so I happily took it off of her hands. I'm happy to try it and give my thoughts on it. I've yet to do that. Then I made a big Unearthly order again. Like, as you can see, Unearthly is one of my favorite brands, and I need to finish these No Pan Left Behind before I focus in on Glaminatrix and Bella Beauté Bar. But I bought a ton of like the little 9 pans. So I have the Night Terror, the purple one. I have Shadowed Petal, the like pinky mauvey one. I have Murky Meadow, which is like the greeny murky one. Then I have the Thinking of You, which was, I believe, their Valentine's Mystery palette. And it looks like this. This was the one like I really didn't need, but I was buying so much from them that I was like, add it in. It's not that expensive, especially at 40% off. So I did. And then the last one in that order was the Spring or Summer Mystery Box, the Shadow Sculpt. And it looks like this. And I didn't realize it at the time when I spoke about this in my purchases and empties video, but this is not the same size as other Unearthly palettes. I'm trying to like look on my floor to see if I have one I can reach to show you, but it's not the same size and that kind of bothers me, if I'm being honest. I don't mind if the pan sizes are smaller, just when I have it on my shelf, it like doesn't match up and that's a little annoying. 3 more purchases from November. I bought 2 of these Dolce & Gabbana eyeshadow palettes. They're like little holiday palettes. So this one is Rose Goddess, which is the one I'm actually wearing on my eyes today. This is the other purchase that I made with that $50 Saks Fifth Avenue credit, just so you know. So this is what I decided to splurge on. The thing is the color story that I wanted was sold out on the Saks Fifth Avenue price. So I kind of settled for this one. And then I saw the color story that I wanted come back in stock and it was on sale for holiday. So I ended up picking it up. This is the Amber Venus, just the brown one, but I can tell you this one's so much better than the rose one. Like, I like the look that I came up with for the rose one, but this one's just prettier. So you have 3 mattes. You have like kind of a, I wouldn't really call this a light tone, but a light to medium tone. You have a deeper one, then a dark matte. Then you have a dark shimmer, a lighter shimmer, and then this is like a sparkly topper. And then the Rose Goddess is kind of the same. So I bought those 2. That was kind of like a very special holiday treat yourself purchase, as well as this one. This is the last item that I have to talk about, the Danessa Myricks Lightwork 7. So I did finally buy a Danessa Myricks palette. I'm very grateful, very thankful that I'm even able to like afford this amazingly. I didn't buy Lightwork 6. I haven't bought any Danessa Myricks palette, But this one was the one where I was like, I like this color story enough where I can spend the money on it. So I finally decided to. I was very tempted by number 6, but I really told myself, like, those colors aren't for you. And I'm glad that I resisted that palette because this one is so much better. So those were all of my purchases for November. And now we get into December, which I'm happy to say I have 0. Now, the month's not over, clearly, because you're seeing this in December. There's only, I think, like a week and a half left of December. I'm filming this like 2 days before it goes up on Friday. I think this goes up on a Sunday. But I haven't purchased anything yet. And I'm really trying to, at least 1 month, this entire year, have a no buy month. I think that I'll be able to complete it because I have like actually a motivating factor. My sister is coming to visit me from the States. She's coming to Spain and we're going to do like a road trip thing in January. So I'm really trying to save anything that I can that's like superfluous, like makeup, and put that budget towards that road trip that we're going to have. So that's really helping me in the back of my mind. Like, do you want a palette that's going to sit on your shelf? Or do you want to like do something fun and cool with your sister? So that's helping. I do think that I will not purchase anything for the rest of the month. Maybe I will, but I feel pretty content with what I have. Like, there's nothing really, if I even think right now, like if someone gave me $200, like a Sephora gift card, an Ulta gift card, or to any brand I wanted, they were just like, here's $200, like what makeup product would you buy? I can't even like think of off the top of my head, like what I would want first. There's definitely things that I want. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's things that I would have, but I can't think of, like, they're just not on the forefront of my mind where I'm like obsessing over them and have to have them, if that makes any sense. Maybe if you are in the same boat as me where you're trying to lower your consumption a little bit, you can understand when like you get in that mindset of just like, I need this palette, like my life will not be complete without this palette. You get what I'm trying to say, but right now I don't have any of those. And that feels just really, really nice. Anyways, this was my very long, very lengthy 2025 purchases. I'm hoping 2026 brings us a little bit more positive news. Let's go over my numbers here because I did tally everything up. We'll start with palettes because obviously that was the most. I brought in 74 palettes into my collection last year, whether that was purchased or decluttered. There was less than 10 decluttered to me, so I'm not going to like divvy up which ones were which. And out of those, I decluttered 5 of those palettes. So 69 total palettes I brought in that I still have in my collection in 2025. Not great. This was definitely the hardest category for me because when I look at the rest of these, pretty manageable. I only bought 1 primer. I really like that number, that Milani primer. So I'm very happy with that. I bought 11 foundations, not the best. Like, really, I should maybe be buying 1 foundation a year. I should really be buying 0 until I get my foundation category under control. But because I do first impression videos, it's kind of my favorite. I'm okay with like the 10-ish. Like, I think I would be okay with that year after year if I was like doing first impression videos, whatnot. Like 10 is fine. It's not 69. So that's fine. Concealers, I only brought in 1. Lipsticks, I only brought in 3. I did separate lipsticks and lip masks because I did bring in 4. I brought in that Summer Friday and then those 3 little mini Lano lips. So I wanted to separate it and not say 7 lip products, but if you want to say 7 lip products, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Eyeshadow singles, I brought in 30. Definitely need to be buying 0 eyeshadow singles. And that'll be a goal for 2026, just no eyeshadow singles. Like eyeshadow palettes, I will still allow myself to purchase because if I don't, I will fail and I don't want to set myself up for failure. I just need to maybe, I would like to stay under like 15 palettes for next year. That's going to be tough, but I think I could do 15 palettes. Anyways, continuing on. Powders, I only purchased 1. I didn't go over the mascara purchase that I had because I'm pretty sure it was a free gift with purchase, but I did have 1 mascara purchase or free gift with purchase that I brought in. I'm not sure. Face palettes, I bought 3. That's a little excessive, but I'm happy with all 3 of the face palettes, the Charlotte Tilbury, the YSL, and the Aspen Ovard. Very happy with all 3 of those. Highlighters, I only brought 1 in, so I'm happy with that. Lip liners, 2. Don't need lip liners, definitely don't. Bronzers, I brought in 2. And blush, I only brought in 1, but I decluttered that blush. So out of everything, that is 135 items that I fully brought into my collection. Like I said, 5 palette declutters, 1 blush declutter, and then I decluttered 2 foundations. So it was 9 foundations that I still have in my collection out of that 11. 135 is almost 12 products a month, and that's a lot. Now, again, like I didn't purchase, or I haven't purchased anything for this December. And for the very last time, I want to just remind you that last December, January was hopefully an exception in my life on tragedy and trying to find any moment of joy that I could in those 2 months. But still, I'm not happy like looking at these numbers when I think about what I came on camera and said in 2024 and what my goals are. Most of these numbers I'm happy with. It is the eyeshadow palettes that I just need to get under control. So let's just say I bought no singles. Let me add this up really quickly. And let's just say I bought 15 palettes next year only. So that would be 51 products. If the rest of these numbers stayed the same, like same amount of primers, same amount of foundations, concealers, lipsticks, lip masks, no eyeshadow singles, powder, face palettes, etc. That would be 51 products. That's still even kind of high. I would like to be around 48. I'm happy that I don't have any blush that I brought in 2025. I think that is amazing. Like, did really excellent with that. Highlighter, also very happy about. I only brought in that Ghost Face highlighter, which was kind of like an IP collector thing. Like, okay. Concealer, happy I only brought in 1, although I don't really like that Lisa Eldridge concealer. It's fine. The powder, I brought in 1. So overall, like lip liner, I'd like to eliminate by 0 and not bring in any lip liners. If I could stay around 48 products total, 4 per month, I'd be much happier with that. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. You know, I'm not a perfect person by any means. I come online and I'm very vulnerable and honest with you on what I'm purchasing, what goes through my mind when I'm purchasing. I definitely know over the years, like my coping mechanisms haven't been the best. And it's kind of just how I deal with things, not trying to like trauma dump, but that's just how I've always coped. And it is very difficult to try to get yourself out of the coping mechanisms that are very comfortable for you. So I'm struggling some months, but other months I'm doing better. And I recognize things in myself more and more and more. And that's all we can do. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much, because I know this video is going to be over an hour long. I would love to hear down below just your thoughts, whether positive or negative, as long as you keep it constructive. Tell me your struggles down below, if you have the same ones or if you have different ones that you struggle with. Let me know, because it's always interesting to me about the things that maybe someone else struggles with that you can't quite connect with, and just the different struggles that we have that maybe you wouldn't like think would be a struggle for other people because you don't personally struggle with that, right? So I'd love to know down below, and I'd love to, if I can, give you advice. I will try my best. Or if you have advice for me, like, let's just be a together supportive community. That's all that I ask. After that, though, this is where I'm going to leave you all. I hope you're having a great one, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.